It's now time for Talkin' Boxing with Billy C. It began as a podcast, went live on the net, and transformed into a full-blown empire. It's the only daily boxing talk show on the planet, hosted by the only guy with the balls to do it. Many have stepped into the ring. Many have tried to take the belt. And one by one, they've fallen. Another victim of the undisputed heavyweight champion of Boxing Talk Radio. Talkin' Boxing with Billy C is on now.
My style is impetuous, my defense is impregnable, and I'm just ferocious. I want your heart.
And we're coming to you live from the Billy C Studios in Lake George, New York. I'm Bill Calogero. It's time for the Billy C Show. Good morning, good day, good evening. Whenever you're watching, whenever you're listening, I hope you're doing okay today. Today's show is being brought to us in part by Sal's Neighborhood Pizzeria and Italian Restaurant located on St. Simon's Island in Georgia. Check out the website, www.salsneighborhoodpizzeria.com. Or give my man a call, 912-268-2328, 912-268-2328. Find out why I go all the way to St. Simon's for an authentic Italian meal. Today's show is also being brought to us in part by the Holiday Inn properties. That's right, all the properties. If you're going to be traveling and you need to stay somewheres, stay at a Holiday Inn property. My favorites are the Holiday Inn Resorts and Holiday Inn Express. Now, if you're traveling and you're going to stay at one of these great facilities, then you need to save some money because Billy C can get you a discount. That's right. Just call our toll-free number, 844-603-0364, 844-603-0364, or just click on the banner. That's on BillyCBoxing.com. And finally, today's show is being brought to us in part by my book, Tom Molyneux, From Bondage to Baddest Man on the Planet, is available right now where all good books are sold. And you can get a copy of this book right now while you're watching or listening to this show. Just visit BarnesandNoble.com or Amazon.com. Find out why I'm so adamant about getting Tom Molyneux's story told. Coming up later in the week, we're doing our blast from the past on former light heavyweight contender James Scott. He was always one of my favorite fighters. I remember watching him on TV from Rahway Prison, and it always had this eerie feeling about watching him fight. He just passed away, I guess it was last week, at 70 years old. So I thought it would be fitting to do a blast on him. So look for that on Wednesday, as well as Boxing Hall of Famer and New Jersey Athletic Commissioner Larry Hazard, who's also scheduled to join us on Wednesday. So make sure you stop around for that. Let's get right into it. Today, pretty much, we're going to talk about the my post-fight thoughts on Vasyl Lomachenko knocking out Jorge Linares in the 10th round with a devastating body shot. Listen, what can I say? Vasyl Lomachenko is one of the best fighters I've ever seen. I'm sorry, he is. You know, I know he improved to 11-1, 12 professional fights, 9 knockouts. You know, and you could say what you want. Yeah, he's had an extensive amateur career. You could say what you want about other great fighters who had a much longer reign as champion or just a longer career. But this is a special fighter, man. I mean, if you can't see it, I don't know. Don't take it personal, but you don't know boxing, you know. I mean, the truth of the matter is when I watch Lomachenko fight, I'm seeing a guy that really possesses everything that you need to be a fighter. I mean, he's got a mean streak, okay? He's got a little attitude. There's no question about that. He taunts a little bit when he's in the ring. But this guy is he's fantastic. When I think of the sweet science and the arguments that have, blossomed over the last decade about, what is and what isn't the sweet science. And, not that I want to mention his name, but I have to. Floyd Mayweather was a guy that really got people thinking that his style of fighting was the sweet science. People have given him accolades or how great defensively he was, et cetera, et cetera. But, the truth of the matter is could he avoid punches and be great defensively? Could he counterpunch? Yeah, I mean, Floyd's one of the best. But don't compare him with Lomachenko. I got news for you. Lomachenko, I think, displays, with 12 pro fights under his belt, and one of them being a loss, displays the sweet science really like no other. This is a guy that is standing right in front of you, and you can't hit him. The way he pivots and the way he creates angles to deliver punches, it's beautiful to watch. It really is. And then when he goes in for the kill, and when he lands those punches, what's amazing? When I'm watching a guy, now he's in there with, he's not fighting a schlep. He's not cherry picking an opponent. He clearly was fighting a talented guy with that could match his hand speed. Linares definitely had some hand speed and was way bigger and punched powerfully. I mean, that knockdown that he got in the 6th round over Lomachenko. I didn't think Lomachenko was really hurt. He caught him, flush on the face. And, caught him, knocked him off balance, dropped him. What bothered me about that was how, a matter of factly, the commentators were mentioning that it automatically is a 10-8 round. And all 3 judges scored it as such. I looked at the scorecards. They all scored it a 10-8 round. The question is, who was winning that round? I thought that Lomachenko was winning that round pretty decisively. It wasn't until after that round that Linares started putting his foot on the gas and looked better. That knockdown kind of rejuvenated Jorge. And, he started looking good and won a couple of rounds after that. But prior to that, I thought it was all Lomachenko. How do you do a 2-point swing on a round that was, for all intent purposes, being dominated by Lomachenko? This is exactly what Larry Hazard talks about. But nonetheless, here's a guy that's pivoting, and Lomachenko nailing the shots. The thing that impresses me the most is that when he delivers a punch and he nails his opponent, like the way he was splitting the guard of Jorge Linares and landing an uppercut, or landing not one but 2 punches successfully, boom, boom, 1, 2, between the guard, the accuracy is unbelievable. How do you not give him credit? I mean, you have to. My concern right now is that the division that he's in, the lightweight division. Now, Linares isn't exactly. Maybe he is. Maybe he is bigger than most of the other lightweights out there. But I just thought that Vasyl Lomachenko was fighting out of a weight class. Did he do it? Yeah, great fighters do that. Great fighters, move up in weight and challenge themselves. And nobody can say that Vasyl hasn't challenged himself, because he certainly has. But that's what great fighters do. Great fighters do great things. And, by him moving up in weight. Now, there was a lot of talk of the potential matchup between him and Mikey Garcia. Now, I don't like that matchup, and I'll tell you why. I mean, don't get me wrong. I love Mikey Garcia. Mikey Garcia, he's one of my favorites, okay? but I think he's too big for Lomachenko. I really do. I thought, seeing him in the ring next to Jorge Linares made me feel, wow, this is really a dangerous fight for Lomachenko. Thankfully, his skill set carried him through. And that's another thing I want to point out. There's no question about his skill set. And what I really am impressed with him is the fact that he is able to, stand in that pocket, even with the bigger guy. I mean, he's in there with the bigger guy, and he's still standing in the pocket. Listen. Does that take anything away from Jorge Linares? Does this fight take anything away from Jorge Linares? No. You know what? Linares is a talented fighter in his own right, and he's got hand speed, he's got punching power. His defense is decent. I mean, not against Lomachenko, but it's decent. He's got the problem with his eyes cut, getting cut all the time. Listen, it was a body shot that put him out. It was a body shot that put out Linares. He couldn't recover from it. At first I didn't even see it. I had to wait till the reverse angle. I didn't even see the punch, and it certainly didn't look, any harder than any of the other Lomachenko punches that were being thrown and landed. But it clearly did its damage. It was. Hey, what can I say? A couple of points I want to make. Just, we'll get through some of these other fights, too, real quick. We'll go back to Vasyl, but Lomachenko improves to 11-1 with 9 knockouts. Third world title belt he's won quicker than anyone. 12 fights. Was able to break down and then finally beat Linares, who, by the way, I was a little surprised at the scorecards, to be honest with you. At the point of the stoppage, 2 judges had it 86-84. However, one of them had it for Lomachenko, and one had it for Linares. And then the third judge, Julie Letterman, actually, had it even at 85-85. It sounded to me, when I saw the scorecards, that this fight, the result, if it went to the final bell, was going to be a draw. It was going to be a draw. I don't see how Linares would have been winning this fight. I just don't see it. Did he land some great shots? Yeah, he did, but not the same. When Lomachenko would land his punches, he landed them in succession, and he landed them clean. I mean, they were clean. The uppercuts were great. And then when he came back over the top and would just split the guard of Linares, I mean, it was a beautiful listen, it was a beautiful fight to watch. If there's people out there that thought that it wasn't an exciting fight, I don't know. I don't know what you would think is exciting. But let's just run through some of these other fights real quick. Carlos Adames improved to 14-0. When he won a unanimous decision against Alejandro Barrera. Barrera drops to 27-5 with 17 knockouts. The way the judges scored it, 98-92, 97-93, 96-94. Again, the score is kind of all over the place. Just to keep you updated, Michael Conlon improved to 7-0 with 5 knockouts when he went the distance with Iban Larinaga, I think is how you say it, and I apologize. You know me. If anybody's watching this show for any length of time, they know I moida not only the English language but people's names, and I apologize. 80-72 was the way all 3 judges scored that one. How about the fight over on HBO? First of all, let's talk about commentators for a sec. The Showtime event, which I'll get to in a minute, theirs was the Friday night. you know what? It is such a pleasure to listen to that broadcast without Mario Ronaldo. I mean, it's like you're watching a different network. Barry Tompkins is great, and it's a shame that Steven Espinosa, the guy you would never want to leave any child with unattended. But I mean, the truth of the matter is that Ronaldo ruins the broadcast. Here you got Al Bernstein and Paulie Malignaggi, arguably two of the best analysts, ring analysts in the sport, and they're being overshadowed by a loud screaming idiot and Ronaldo. I mean, it's terrible. It was a pleasure to watch and listen without him. As far as the ESPN broadcast, which the Lomachenko fight was on, Joe Tessitore is Joe Tessitore. He's a great commentator. And I got news for you. Timothy Bradley is really good. I like Timothy Bradley. I like what he's done. He's busted onto this scene, doing ringside analysis, and he's doing a great job. He really is. I love his perspectives, and I love the way he calls a spade a spade. Now, the other guy, Mark Kriegel, there's no room for him here. Hey, this guy is terrible. I was never a huge fan of Teddy Atlas. Never. But I definitely miss Teddy Atlas. I can't stand watching this guy. Can't stand listening to him. He tries to he's like a Larry Merchant. Tries to make it, boxing's a rough and tumble sport. Let's speak like that. I don't know. That's me. But anyway, let's jump over to HBO, which sucked. I mean, HBO, what's happened? Why is the elephant in the room about Roy Jones Jr.? I mean, Roy Jones is terrible. He's terrible. I mean, I love him as a fighter, or loved him as a fighter years ago, but he's terrible as a commentator. Awful. Jim Lampley's lost it. Can't do it. Can't do it anymore. Can't do it without a prompter. Can't do it without punch stats. Just can't do it. And Max, I don't know what to think of Max. I like Max Kellerman. And, I like the fact that he's multifaceted, does other sports. But I've always thought that the powers that be at HBO keep Max under control for some reason. And I think it's time to let him loose, see what he can do, if anything. Because that trio is in tough shape. It's hard to watch. But speaking of hard to watch, it was hard to watch Sadam Ali get beat like he did. Jamie Munguia, or however they pronounced it, Munguia, improved to 29-0 with 25 knockouts when he knocked out Sadam Ali at 1 minute, 2 seconds of the fourth round up at the Turning Stone. Normally, I am ringside for all those fights. Something came up, and I just couldn't be. And I, wish I was there. But I mean, Sadam Ali looked like a fish out of water. There was something not right about him. And I not that I don't want to give credit to Jamie Munguia, but Munguia was much bigger. There's no question about it. And he clearly had punching power. But he seemed like he was delivering his punches kind of slow. He also seemed like he was, left himself open. He didn't really have much defense, it seemed, at least to me. And yet he just methodically, well, maybe he felt that Sadam Ali couldn't do anything. But Sadam Ali didn't do anything. Wasn't trying to box or anything. Andre Rozier, the trainer, I think, it's time to realize that this guy his job with Daniel Jacobs, I like what he's done with Daniel Jacobs, but let me tell you something. This kid, Sadam Ali, was in serious trouble, all right? When he went back to the ring, the referee came over and was saying, I think we should stop this fight, and he was actually mad that the doctor didn't stop it, according to the Three Stooges calling the event, but the truth of the matter is that, Rozier, he's supposed to be the Zen guy. He's supposed to be, the mental, not only the actual physical coach, trainer, but also very good mentally with these guys. And he's the world champion, give him another chance, hey, give him another chance. The guy was at it. He was walking around. His equilibrium was clearly off. His feet were not moving correctly. And that wasn't after that one round where he was like kind of doing the 1.5 step back to his corner. He just, even when he came out, he didn't look right. And a trainer is supposed to see that. Forget about the title. Forget about tomorrow. Forget about making a comeback. Think about today. Everybody cries about the safety of the fighters, but what about the guys that are in the direct position to do something about it? It's pretty sad. But nonetheless, at the end of the fight, now remember, this is the same guy that the Nevada State Athletic Commission, they didn't approve him. Because they said he wasn't experienced enough to face Triple G, but yet the same Nevada State Athletic Commission felt that Conor McGregor, making his pro debut, was experienced enough in boxing to fight Floyd Mayweather, who was 49-0. The Nevada State Athletic Commission has lost even the littlest bit of what I had left of respect for them. They are nothing more than a bunch of crooks. They go with the money, and I tell you the truth, I wouldn't have minded seeing Jamie Munguia fighting Triple G. I got to admit, I wasn't too up on Munguia, but I tell you, which would make a decent fight is him against that Charlo. I always get the two Charlo brothers confused, Jamal. Whichever one is in the junior middleweight division. That would be a good fight. At least you'd have two, light heavyweights fighting for the junior middleweight. I mean, it's just amazing how big these guys look. Hold that thought. We're going to take a short break. When I come back, I got some other results. We got a little bit of news. I want to talk more about Lomachenko. Is he one of the best fighters of all time? I think so. I'll be back in 2.
Billy C will be right back.
Broken air conditioning, $4,400. Failing refrigerator, $2,500. Don't let outrageous repair and replacement bills like these bust your budget. Get the First American Home Warranty Plan. And when a covered appliance or system breaks, we'll repair it or replace it for you.
We had a high-end dishwasher go kaput. They put it in a brand new dishwasher.
We have plans that cover air conditioning, most appliances, plus heating, plumbing, electrical systems, and much more. Plans start as low as $25 a month. Why let a major appliance or system breakdown bust your budget or go through the hassle of finding trustworthy service people? Last year alone, we saved our customers over $120 million. Don't wait until something breaks and you're stuck with a huge bill.
We save a lot of money. It's absolutely worth it.
If you don't have First American Warranty, get it.
Call 1-800-946-6234 for your free no-obligation quote.
Need relief from backaches and stiffness in your hips or down your legs? Then you need Dr. Ho's Back Relief Belt, the innovative technology to support and decompress your spine. And now it's covered by Medicare.
Every patient with back pain should be wearing this belt.
Nothing gave me instant relief except for the Dr. Ho belt.
Feel good while standing, walking, driving, doing housework, and while laying down. And now Dr. Ho's patented belt is available at our best price ever. It's even covered by Medicare. Order now and get the easy-to-use hand pump and back rehabilitation DVD free.
You know, similar belts can cost you almost $1,000, but my belts won't cost you $500, not $300, not even $200. I will give you my special TV price.
And remember, Dr. Ho's belt is covered by Medicare.
If you know a friend or family member that suffers with pain, get them my system today. Help them live with less pain, be more active, and get back to doing the things they love. Give them the gift of health.
Listen to this important message. If you owe money to the IRS, you will want to hear this. Penalties and interest compound daily on your back taxes, putting you under a mountain of debt. Tax 10,000 has years of experience connecting people with tax resolution specialists. Working through the IRS Fresh Start program, they will handle all the necessary forms, and if you qualify, you may end up saving thousands of dollars. Call Tax 10,000 at 800-773-4604.
Are you currently on Medicare? In other words, do you carry the red, white, and blue Medicare card? If so, are you suffering from chronic back pain? If you answered yes, you may be eligible for a pain-relieving back brace covered by Medicare at little to no cost, shipped directly to your home for free. These medical-grade back braces are ideal for lower back pain, arthritis, spinal disorders, and other chronic back problems. Will you qualify for a medical-grade back brace?
Call Back Brace America at 1-800-290-8300.
Check out BillyCBoxing.com now, or feel the wrath of the mighty mustache.
Oh, that hurts! Why are you doing that to my face? I hate you!
That's BillyCBoxing.com. Consider this your warning. Now back to Billy C. Interact with the show at BillyCBoxing.com.
And we're back. You're watching and listening to the Billy C. Show. Glad you could be with us today. And speaking of being with us, hey, listen, I want to open up the phone lines for a few minutes. Get your thoughts on Vasyl Lomachenko. Give us a call, 845-228-8710, 845-228-8710. What's your thoughts on Lomachenko's performance against Jorge Linares? Is Lomachenko one of the best ever? What do you think? I mean, he's only got 12 fights under his belt. One of them's a loss. But let me know what your thoughts are. On Friday, out of Philly, Devin Haney got his first big test, technically, when he beat Mason Menard at the end of the ninth round. Mason Menard's corner stopped the fight. So he was getting tattooed. Devin Haney was beating him. I was a little surprised. Devin Haney, the size that he has, didn't stop Menard. And the reason I say that is because Mason Menard, in his losses, with the exception now of this one, he's been stopped. He has fought, and when I broke down the fight on Friday, he has fought a very limited opposition and pretty much was running that Louisiana circuit, where they can, fight the same guy every night, But it's just, I was surprised. At least his corner saw that the guy was taking a beat and he wasn't going to win the fight. There's no reason to continue. Devin Haney, I liked what I saw. He's 19-0 now, 13 knockouts. Big, strong, very technically sound 19-year-old. We got a couple of young fighters in the sport today that are really making the outlook on the future pretty bright. You got Haney is now one to keep an eye on, and Ryan Garcia we saw a couple weeks ago. He's another one. Both 19-year-olds that have a decent following already, and that's important. So congrats to Haney, looking good, 19-0, 13 knockouts. Joshua Greer Jr. This is the guy that brings the pillow. He puts his opponents to sleep. Guy. He beat Glenn DeZern, and I thought that this was a pretty entertaining fight. It was a back and forth fight. I liked it, but the fight was stopped by the referee, Benny Estevides, and he stopped it at 1 minute and 47 seconds of the eighth round, giving Joshua Greer the victory, 17-1-1 now at 9 knockouts. DeZern slipped to 9-2-1 with 6 KOs. In a fight that I loved. I loved watching this fight. And, quite honestly, I didn't really agree with the score. But in the light heavyweight division, Charles Foster improved to 16-0 with 8 knockouts when he won a unanimous decision over Alvin Vermal Jr. out of Catskill, New York, who loses for the first time in his career. He's now 15-1-1 with 12 knockouts. they apparently, most people feel that Foster outworked Varmall, and for the most part, he seemed to be sticking his jab in Varmall's face. But I loved the defense, the Mike Tyson-esque defense and style of Alvin Varmall. He was punching with power. His accuracy needs to be worked on a little bit. I thought the fight was closer. The way the judges scored it, two of them had it 77-73. One had it 78-74. I thought the fight was closer. But whatever. I enjoyed it. Both guys deserve credit on that one. And on a fight, I told you I wasn't going to really talk about it, but I'll give you the result anyway. Tony Harrison improved to 27-2 with 21 knockouts when he won a 10-round split decision over Ishii Smith, who drops to 29-10, 12 knockouts. One judge scored it 95-94 for Smith, while the other two saw it 96-93 and 97-92 for Harrison. Once again, scores all over the place. Ishii Smith is just such a boring fighter. Listen, you want to say what you want about, fighters that are technically sound, sweet science guys, whatever. But, unfortunately, boxing is a sport, but it's also entertainment. And you can't expect to make the maximum number of money or maximum amount of money if your product, which is your style, is boring. If you're with a team that promotes victories and, hey, a win's a win type of a thing, and that's how you make your money, well, you run the risk of losing snooze fests like this one was. But the co-main event was exciting. It was in the cruiserweight division. Andrew the Beast Tabiti improved to 16-0 with 13 knockouts when he knocked out former world title challenger Latif Coyote in the sixth round. Coyote couldn't get up. He did not beat the count. He drops to 21-3 with 16 knockouts. He's also got a couple of no contests and no decisions or whatever. That took place on Friday. On Saturday, former WBO cruiserweight champ Krzysztof Glowacki, or the way they pronounce it is Glowaski, improved to 30-1 when he took care of Santander Silgado, who dropped to 28-5 in round number 1 in Poland on Saturday. And over in England, former heavyweight title challenger Hughie Fury improved to 21-1 when he scored a fifth-round knockout over Sam Sexton. Now, that was for the British belt. Sam Sexton drops to 24-4. So we'll see what Hughie Fury goes on from here. Heavyweight roundup. Some other fights that I wanted to talk about in the heavyweight division. On Friday, Elaine Banagongo improved to 3-0 when he won a 6-round decision over Miloslav Pavic, who drops to 0-4. Dominic Musil, and these fights were out of the Czech Republic, improved to 2-0 when he knocked out Jan Hreblik in the very first of a scheduled 4-round fight. Hreblik drops to 0-7. Also on Friday, from the Twin River Event Center in Rhode Island, Joe Cusimano improved to 15-1 when he knocked out Bernardo Marquez in the fourth of a scheduled 6-round fight. Marquez drops to 8-4-1. On Saturday, in Belgium, Roberto Cicola goes to 8 wins and a draw when he and Bahaha Al-Darajab, who went to now is 0-0 and 2 draws. These two guys fought to a 6-round draw in Belgium. And added a turning stone up in Verona on the undercard of the Sadam Ali fight. A couple of heavyweights. Alex Vanassi improved to 4-0 when he stopped Ray Santiago In the third round of a scheduled four-round fight, Santiago drops to 2-8. A little backstory on Ray Santiago. This kid actually isn't as bad as his record would suggest. The problem is he doesn't train. He gets out of weight, out of shape, and goes in heavy a lot. But it's a shame. He was never guided correctly, and he does it for money. And that's it. But it's a shame because this was a kid that probably could have made a successful career instead of being just the sacrificial lamb. Also on that card, Luis Vargas improved to 3-0 when he won a 4-round unanimous decision over Damian Lewis, who is yet to win a fight. He's 0-8-1. So there's your heavyweight roundup for the weekend. Hey, listen, I'm going to take a short break. When I come back, I got some more talk about Vasyl Lomachenko. Like I said, I'm opening up the phone lines, man. Don't be scared. Give us a call. Let us know what you think of Vasyl Lomachenko. Otherwise, I'm going to move on. 845-228-8710. I'm going to take a short break, so don't go anywhere.
Billy C will be right back.
Relief from backaches and stiffness in your hips or down your legs? Then you need Dr. Ho's Back Relief Belt, the innovative technology to support and decompress your spine. And now it's covered by Medicare.
Every patient with back pain should be wearing this belt.
Nothing gave me instant relief except for the Dr. Ho belt.
Feel good while standing, walking, driving, doing housework, and while laying down. And now Dr. Ho's patented belt is available at our best price ever. It's even covered by Medicare. Order now and get the easy-to-use hand pump and back rehabilitation DVD free.
Similar belts can cost you almost $1,000, but my belts won't cost you $500, not $300, not even $200. I will give you my special TV price.
And remember, Dr. Ho's belt is covered by Medicare.
If you know a friend or family member that suffers with pain, get them my system today. Help them live with less pain, be more active, and get back to doing the things they love. Give them the gift of health.
This is important news for women using birth control medications and devices. If you or a loved one have been diagnosed with a pseudotumor after using one of these birth control drugs or devices, you may be eligible for a cash award and medical expenses. Contact the law firm of Davis & Crump right now if you or a loved one have used one of these birth control medications or devices and were diagnosed with a pseudotumor to see if you are eligible for a cash award and medical expenses. Call now. Operators are standing by.
Hologram USA presents a proposal to all investors. Hologram USA is an innovative three-dimensional patented technology that shifted the paradigm in media technology. Our patented hologram technology that brought you Tupac and Coachella, Whitney Houston, Billie Holiday, and many more is integrating live performances to bring your favorite past and present entertainers beyond your imagination. Invest in the patented technology before the banks scoop up all the stock. Invest in Hologram USA today. Hologram USA Flagship Theater, located on Hollywood Boulevard's Walk of Fame, is the first of many to come. Call now to be part of the explosive growth. Pick up the phone. Dial the number on your screen now. Invest in Hologram USA today. Call the number on your screen right now to learn about this investment opportunity.
Call 800-624-1673. 800-624-1673.
Are you currently on Medicare? In other words, do you carry the red, white, and blue Medicare card? If so, are you suffering from chronic back pain? If you answered yes, you may be eligible for a pain-relieving back brace covered by Medicare at little to no cost, shipped directly to your home for free. These medical-grade back braces are ideal for lower back pain, arthritis, spinal disorders, and other chronic back problems. Will you qualify for a medical-grade back brace?
Call Back Brace America at 1-800-290-8300.
Now back to Talkin' Boxing with Billy C., the only radio host man enough to take a punch from Mike Tyson.
Wait a minute, man. Hold on there. Jeremy, man, I need you to take this one, all right?
Wait, what? No way. I can't do this.
Need I remind you I'm Billy C., damn it? Now put on that mustache and get in there.
Hey, look at me. I'm Billy C. Crap.
The undisputed heavyweight champion of Boxing Talk Radio. It's Talkin' Boxing with Billy C.
Now back to Billy C. Interact with the show at BillyCBoxing.com.
And we're back. You're watching and listening to the Billy C. Show. Glad you could be with us today. One last time, anybody wants to give me their thoughts on Vasyl Lomachenko, the phone line is open, 845-228-8710. And speaking of Vasyl Lomachenko, after his performance on Saturday against a much bigger, stronger Jorge Linares, I really can't think of a better pound-for-pound fighter. I mean, I love Terence Crawford. Terence Crawford is similar to Lomachenko in the sense where, he's not afraid to engage. Terence Crawford goes in for the kill. He's defensively, he's solid. But Lomachenko just is a different level. I mean, I would love to have seen a fighter like Lomachenko at middleweight or physically bigger, fighting at middleweight or even a heavyweight. Oh my goodness, you saw a heavyweight with those skill set would be the greatest ever. You look at a big man like Muhammad Ali, and the accolades that he gets to this day for being so fluent and graceful in the ring. Could you imagine if a guy like Vasyl Lomachenko was a heavyweight? What the accolades would be? If he was the size of an Anthony Joshua and had the movement and the ability that he has now, it would be just one scary dude, right? I listen. He's I hate to go all crazy over a guy with 12 pro fights. And I know what a lot of boxing fans, what are you talking about? He's only fought. Who's he fought? Well, he's fought a lot of good names. All right. He certainly hasn't backed away from anyone, and I would think it's the opposite. I think fighters, management, promoters don't want any part of Lomachenko, which is going to hurt him eventually. Now, Bob Arum is talking about a possible catchweight fight between he and Manny Pacquiao, and although the fight sounds intriguing, and we know that Lomachenko will most likely be the smaller guy, will definitely be the smaller guy. Pacquiao's not the same Pacquiao. And, I just wonder how it would have gone, if we did have that old time machine to bring us back. And, we get to see a prime Lomachenko fighting a prime Manny Pacquiao. How would it have gone? I mean, you have the unorthodox style of Manny Pacquiao, and talk about, darting in, darting out with his angles and his hand speed and his punching power. But Lomachenko has a knack for avoiding the punches, and he just never, when he circles around his opponent, when his opponent is trying to move, what you have to understand, and what is so impressive to me, is when Lomachenko, a fighter will go back to his corner, and his cornermen will say, "All right, listen, he's loading up. Keep moving to your right. Stay away from his power. Keep moving to your right, or keep moving to your left." Whatever they tell him, right? And you watch Lomachenko opponent go to do that. Get out of harm's way. Punch and step to his right, or punch, step to your left, and then go in here, blah blah blah, whatever they tell him. And Lomachenko's there already. Goes to step, Lomachenko pivots around, and he's there. So he causes his opponents not to be able to set themselves so that they can throw a punch. But meanwhile, he's in a position to throw a punch, and he is. He's letting his hands go. That's another thing. The guy lets his hands go. He's not afraid to let his hands go. He had the one round after the sixth where he seemed to take his foot off the gas. He seemed to have a little more respect for Jorge Linares. He seemed to just be thinking. But once that round was over, he went back to auto mode. You see, the best fighters in the world and the best fighters throughout history go into auto mode, and they do things naturally. It comes natural to them. You know, the hard work, the practice, the sparring, you know, whatever other additional work they do, it pays off. Because in the fight, in the heat of the battle, you go to auto mode. You know, it's so evident when you look at fighters that have a bad habit or 2 or 3 or 9, and, you know, they change trainers, and then the trainer says, well, you know, I worked on this with him, and, you know, now he was dropping his hand, now he doesn't, blah, blah, blah. And, you know, for a few rounds, you see that the fighter is actually successful at what the new trainer, you know, has tried to teach him. But in the heat of the battle, when the fight gets tough, when it really kicks up a notch, 99.99% of the time, that fighter reverts back to what comes naturally and automatically. Sometimes it's good, and sometimes it's not so good. But with Vasyl Lomachenko, this guy, when he's in auto mode, he's throwing lots of punches. He's very hard to hit. He's going in for the kill. He's working the body, the head. He's mixing up all kinds of punches. You know, he's got a jab. He's got his right. He's got his hook to the body. He's got his uppercut. I mean, you know, he's got his power left. I mean, this is a guy that just uses them all. It's almost like he has fun using all of his punches, his whole arsenal. And he's a tough out. Gervonta Davis, will we see Gervonta Davis fight him? I would love to see it. Somebody mentioned it in one of the chat rooms. Time to make the Tank Davis fight. I think Lomachenko might be too much for Tank Davis right now. And I love Tank Davis. It would be interesting to see how Gervonta Davis performs, because he too has some blazing hand speed and has a mean streak in him. I could see that being one of the best fights that we've seen in many, many years. Lomachenko against Tank Davis. What a matchup that would be. I think anyway. But Lomachenko, listen, I honestly think that he is the best fighter out there today, pound for pound. My man Terrence Crawford is right behind him. And, you know, the truth of the matter is that, you know, when you start looking, and one of my rules, right, one of my rules that I've always instilled upon myself is I don't like to talk about all-time great positions or, you know, how great they are. Hall of Famer. He's a future Hall of Famer. He's a future all-time great. He's got. And even with, you know, recently retired fighters like Floyd, you know, I've given people my opinion of where he sits in my all-time great pound-for-pound list. But normally I don't really officially put him on the list until they've been retired for 5 years. I think it's fair to the fighters to let their career sit for a little while and, you know, have you know, the opportunity, us have the opportunity to appreciate what their accomplishments were from their first pro debut to their final fight. And with all due respect to Floyd, I like to do that as well. And with that said, Vasyl Lomachenko is far from being over. But I got news for you. If somebody pressured me right now and asked me where he would fit on the all-time great list, he's up there. He's above Floyd Mayweather. I'll tell you that right now. He's above Floyd Mayweather. He's above Manny Pacquiao. You know, he's up there. He's up there. This kid is good. We're witnessing something very special here with Vasyl Lomachenko. You don't see it often. It very rarely comes at all. People say, oh, you get a superstar like him every generation. I can't remember. I can't recall. And all the great fighters were always talking about the 80s and what a great era it was, et cetera, et cetera. But I honestly can't think of a fighter that has the complete package that Vasyl Lomachenko has. This guy's exciting. He's got the skill set. He's got the mean streak. He goes in for the kill. He's not trying to pussyfoot around and run and win by a decision. He wants you to remember the fights. And people are going to remember it. They're going to remember him, and they're going to remember his fights. He's going to finish, when it's all said and done, Vasyl Lomachenko is going to be pretty high on the list, in my opinion. Some other news I want to get to. Last week, Eddie Hearn announced that he signed this big $1 billion deal with DAZN, D-A-S-N Sports. It's a streaming service which is going to have at least 32 fight cards a year. And they were saying how much it is. It's cheap. You're not going to have to pay for pay-per-views. It's going to be, $20, $25, something like that. Can't get it in the United States yet. Why would he come over here and making a big announcement and, we can't even get it. You can get it in Canada, but we're not in Canada, But anyway. Vladimir Klitschko's been in the news lately, contemplating a comeback and everything. And, he is talking about both the kings of the heavyweight division right now, Anthony Joshua and Deontay Wilder. And in an interview, of course, everybody's talking about these two guys. Klitschko says, and I quote, they're completely different fighters. I know both of them. They were both in my training camps. I sparred with both of them a lot of time. He says it's difficult to calculate where Deontay Wilder's punches are coming from, but the strength, the core, the foundation that Anthony Joshua has, in addition to being an Olympic champ, and he has the great amateur experience that Wilder doesn't have. I'll be happy, super happy, if I'm able to see Anthony Joshua succeed. I told him, the more you shine, the more I shine. I think that's a really good assessment of Deontay Wilder, and I don't mean because he seemed to think Anthony Joshua would have the better of him, but my thought is that Deontay Wilder is kind of an unknown commodity. We all know that he's got punching power, and his punches do come from crazy angles, and he hasn't really fought anybody, but yet when he did, he performed very well. His so-called, weak chin proved to hold up. He's an unknown commodity. I think he would be tough to prepare for at the elite level. Somebody getting a shot at him, they're going to go for broke. But when you look at Anthony Joshua against Deontay Wilder, I think Deontay Wilder would have an easier time preparing for Anthony Joshua because Anthony Joshua is conventional. He's a conventional fighter. He does things the way you're supposed to. Deontay Wilder doesn't. I think it's going to be harder for Anthony Joshua to train and prepare for Deontay Wilder because you can't overlook his punches. Your defense has to be tight. You have to make sure you're in the right position for a counter punch. And I don't know. I think it's going to be tough. One other thing. I got a couple of emails to read. One other thing. The unbeaten two-division champion, Naoya Inoue, is going to be participating in the announced World Boxing Super Series Bantamweight tournament as long as he wins his fight on May 25th against Jamie McDonald. Another big name in that tournament. I love the World Boxing Super Series tournaments. I absolutely love them. They and I love the fact that that the fighters are agreeing to it, especially with the layout of not really knowing who you're going to fight. I love it. Speaking of Anthony Joshua, my main man Johnston, our UK correspondent, gave me an update, and he says Anthony Joshua is reportedly set to sign a monster £100 million extension to his promotional agreement with Eddie Hearn's Matchroom Sports. that would see him become boxing's biggest earner. Barry Hearn had some things to say, and he said, now Barry Hearn is Eddie Hearn's father, said, Anthony is an astute young man, and he knows what Matchroom Boxing has to offer him when his contract runs out in November. He says, to start with, Anthony is signed to the biggest and best promotional company in the world. We have the financial clout to make sure the big fights can go ahead at the big venues. You know, before I go on, that is such an important statement. And I think it's indicative of why, you know, when we specifically are looking at Anthony Joshua against Deontay Wilder, why the fight hasn't been made sooner is because no one else can come up with the money that both parties are going to demand except, Matchroom. Yes, I know about the $50 million deal from Deontay Wilder, but that was a pipe. Listen, it was a scam. It was a PR move to keep negotiations and the discussion in the press, and it worked. But as I read on, you'll see what I'm talking about. He says, we also have an exclusive contract with Sky Sports and Sky Box Office to screen quality boxing. On top of all of that, Anthony is a close friend. If he went, meaning left that promotional company, it would be like losing someone in the family. He says when Anthony Joshua had some comments to say about this contract, he says, listen, and this is concerning the Deontay Wilder-Anthony Joshua fight. This is Anthony Joshua now. The other quote was Barry Hearn. This says, listen, we're in the process of exchanging offers, and we're just going through the finer details now. Now, what I read into that is, so they are communicating, and they are doing it behind closed doors. Great. He says, the destiny has been written. Some people have been in a way. They caused a few hurdles. We got over them, but we're at the last one right now. He says, I'm praying from now, training from now, for that fight. He says, this is Joshua, says, it seems to be the most important fight out there. He says, the emails have been the cherry on the top in terms of what the fight incurs in terms of finance. But other than that, now we're just going through the finer details, where it's going to be, who's going to broadcast it, all of that. Promoter talk, that's what it is, really. This is Anthony Joshua talking. He says, who's going to promote it, where the first press conferences will be. Will they be in New York, Los Angeles, the UK, different territories, when it will start, just so they're going through that to be fair. So they're all discussing that stuff now. So obviously the money part has been done. He says, that's the fight I want, and it's here now. We're looking at the options. The WBA mandatories, Povetkin, I'm not really interested in that right now. Not right now. While there's an opportunity to fight Wilder, this fight has to happen this year. And then Johnston says, I'm still not completely convinced. It'll be next, as there seem to be a lot more hurdles to overcome, but you never know. Maybe Sal was right. He says, one more question. How on earth did one of the judges score in favor of Linares on Saturday? I don't know, bro. I thought Linares was, did win 2 rounds before the stoppage. And he clearly, the knockdown round, depending upon how you score it, it's going to be curious to see what Larry Hazard thinks on Wednesday, because I'm going to say to him, listen, in that round, I thought Lomachenko was winning that round, and then you get a flash knockdown. Does it become 10-8, or should that have been scored a 10-9 round, a 10-9 in favor of Linares? Or do you score a 10-9 in favor of Lomachenko and then deduct the point for the knockdown to make it 9-9? I don't know. But automatically, all 3 judges scored it 10-8 for Linares. And, that's a 2-point swing if you thought that Lomachenko was winning that. But anyway, just a comment on the Anthony Joshua, Deontay Wilder fiasco. It sounds, whether it's BS or not, and the fact that we haven't heard anything from the loudmouth Deontay Wilder, I would believe that they are negotiating hot and heavy behind closed doors. And for Anthony Joshua to come up with some of those terms, like where the press conferences are going to be, et cetera, means that those are the types of things that are being discussed, because he's not just pulling them out of the air, So maybe we are going to see that fight this year. Again, the rumor had it that he was going to fight Povetkin, that Deontay Wilder was going to fight Brazil, and then they would meet at the end of the year. Personally, they shouldn't fight a preliminary fight. I've said it all along. I've given reasons. Too many risks. You got the biggest payday for both of these guys right now. Make the fight. Do a 2-fight deal with a fight in between. Everybody's happy. One last email. This is from my man Mitch. He says, on one show last week, you batted out of order, just like Sal's Mets did. And you read my email first. It's my Mets. I'm a Mets fan. Sal likes the Yankees. And he was sent me a link to a very humiliating thing. I had to watch it. I was watching a game on TV, and I'm like, what's going on, man? Why? Because Cabrera just hit a double, and he's on second base. And there's 2 outs. And all of a sudden, I see the manager come running out. He talks to the ref, one of the refs, or whatever, refs. And all of a sudden, he goes. Everybody's looking around. He's out, inning over. And I was like, what did he do? Did he miss the base? I'm like, no. If he missed the base, he would have had you would have seen them throw the ball and tag the base. I'm saying, did he touch the plate when he hit the ball? Because you can't hit if you're making contact with the baseball and your foot touches the plate, you're automatically out. I couldn't imagine what happened. Then I found out the Mets batted out of order, which is an out. And I was discussing this with somebody, and he says, "Oh man, Bill," and he's a Yankee fan, so he's busting my chops. He's going, "Bill, man, the Mets batting out of order. When was the last time you saw that happen?" I said, it happens more often than you think. And he looked at me and he's like, "What are you talking about?" I said, "I was at my granddaughter's T-ball game and they bat out of order all the time." That's how sad the Mets have become. And I was so proud of them. I even made stupid bets because I was betting with my heart. But the Mets will be lucky if they finish this season 500. This new coach is over-managing. That's the problem. He's over-managing. But anyway, he says, I like when you open up the emails with Joel or Coach, or you forgot Jesse is usually the guy I always open up with. He says, and then close with mine. He says, anyway, your listeners know that Andre Rozier is the number 1 rated trainer on your pound-for-pound list. I'm not sure how he slipped and how shaky Jacobs looked in his last fight and how Ali looked on Saturday. Was Saturday the case of Sadam Ali's corner being more brave than him? Most definitely. Most definitely. And he says, I know you always talk about that stuff in the past. Also, the considerate bad matching making by Golden Boy by allowing this giant as a short notice opponent for Sadam Ali. He's a giant because we all got to see him in the ring on, the night of the fight. Prior to that, very few people saw this guy. Most of his fights were in Mexico. The Nevada, the joke of all commissions, the Nevada State Athletic Commission, said he didn't have enough experience to fight Triple G, but yet they, let Conor McGregor make his pro debut against Floyd. I just think it's a case of a decent big man destroyed a decent smaller man. Sadam Ali was no world beater, and to the other thing that it just seems something was off because he fought Cotto and beat Cotto. Now Cotto was not a big guy, But Cotto can pop. He can bang, you know. And he took care of Cotto. I mean, he took Cotto's punches. You know, I don't know if you guys caught the reactions of his father in the stands, in the audience there, right ringside. It was like disgusted. You know, I don't know. When you see your equilibrium off, and you're walking back to the corner, and then you go to get up, and you're still a little off balance, a good trainer would have just grabbed this fighter and said, I'm making the decision, it's over. You know, it was like one of the most horrific things I ever witnessed live. I was calling a fight in New Mexico, and it was a Holly Holm fight. And Holly Holm she was fighting a French girl who just looked like this older woman who was going to get beat up really bad. She just didn't have any tone to her body or anything, and she is like this power punching killer. And she had Holly Holm in all kinds of trouble. As a matter of fact, I'll never forget it. The referee, Rocky Burke, called. She was clearly down, okay, right in front of me actually, and he called it a slip. And, you know, it seemed like he was trying to give her, you know, do her a favor, do Holly a favor. She's the hometown. We were in Albuquerque. But what he did was he didn't give her any time to recover. An 8 count would have been a few seconds. Anyway, she takes a few more seconds of a beating. The round ends. She staggers back to her round, to her corner. And I'm watching her. She was right next to me. And I'm watching her, and there's nothing going on. Her hands are slumped down, her legs are slumped. Halfway through the break period, I started seeing her leg moving, like, you know, she was, you know, getting her senses back. And, you know, at that point, her trainer's name is Mike Winklejohn. He should have stopped the fight. He should have stopped the fight, and he didn't. The trainer was too tough for the fighter. Holly went out and subsequently got knocked out. Came back and avenged that loss, but still. You know, there comes a time, you know, we're always talking about safety of fighters, safety of fighters. You know, there's always outrage when something really bad happens. But what about preventative measures? You know, I mean, that's the key, preventative measures. But anyway, hey, listen, I'm going to take a short break. When I come back, I got some news in the light heavyweight division. You know what I'm going to say, right? Well, if not, I'll say it in 2.
Billy C will be right back. Part of the Billy C Boxing Network.
Snacking has never been this exciting. At Graze.com, we combine wholesome ingredients with the flavors we all love to create over 100 exciting snacks. Like these. We'd love to send you a Graze sampler box for free. Just go to Graze.com, enter the code ENJOY36, and we'll mail your free box to your home or office. Join thousands of Grazers already in love with our exciting snacks. So come to Graze.com for your first box free. Need relief from backaches and stiffness in your hips or down your legs? Then you need Dr. Ho's Back Relief Belt, the innovative technology to support and decompress your spine. And now it's covered by Medicare.
Every patient with back pain should be wearing this belt.
Nothing gave me instant relief except for the Dr. Ho belt.
Feel good while standing, walking, driving, doing housework, and while laying down. And now Dr. Ho's patented belt is available at our best price ever. It's even covered by Medicare. Order now and get the easy-to-use hand pump and back rehabilitation DVD free.
You know, similar belts can cost you almost $1,000, but my belts won't cost you $500, not $300, not even $200. I will give you my special TV price.
And remember, Dr. Ho's belt is covered by Medicare.
If you know a friend or family member that suffers with pain, get them my system today. Help them live with less pain, be more active, and get back to doing the things they love. Give them the gift of health.
Listen to this important message. If you owe money to the IRS, you will want to hear this. Penalties and interest compound daily on your back taxes, putting you under a mountain of debt. Tax 10,000 has years of experience connecting people with tax resolution specialists. Working through the IRS Fresh Start program, they will handle all the necessary forms, and if you qualify, you may end up saving thousands of dollars. Call Tax 10,000 at 800-773-4604.
Endless pools are an incredible alternative to traditional pools, making it easy and inexpensive to swim at home. Exercise year-round against a smooth current set to your desired pace and temperature. With our new underwater treadmill, you can walk or run without stressing your joints. Endless pools are simple to install and even simpler to maintain. The water stays crystal clear with almost no chlorine. Call for your free idea kit and experience the freedom of swimming at home.
Snacking has never been this exciting. At Graze.com, we combine wholesome ingredients with the flavors we all love to create over 100 exciting snacks, like these. We'd love to send you a Graze sampler box for free. Just go to Graze.com, enter the code ENJOY36, and we'll mail your free box to your home or office. Join thousands of Grazers already in love.
Check out BillyCBoxing.com now, or feel the wrath of the mighty mustache.
Oh, that hurts! Why are you doing that to my face? I hate you.
That's BillyCBoxing.com. Consider this your warning. Now back to Talkin' Boxing with Billy C. He may not have an Excellence in Broadcasting award, but the night's still young.
And he's got martinis.
So you never know what may be by morning. It's Talkin' Boxing with Billy C.
Talkin' Boxing with Billy C. Now back to Billy C. Interact with the show at BillyCBoxing.com.
And we're back. You're watching and listening to the Billy C. Show. Glad you could be with us. Hey, I'm not sure I answered my man Mitch's last question. He wanted to know if it was if I thought it was bad matchmaking by Golden Boy to allow such a giant short notice to fight Ali. And I did say, well, you know, I just think that the word wasn't out on this guy. But the other thing is that, you know, I thought that everybody took Munguia lightly. I know I did. That was the only fight that I picked incorrectly this weekend. I thought that Sadam Ali was going to win. As a matter of fact, I think the exact words that came out of my mouth were, you know, when a fighter wins a title, they kick themselves up a notch. Well, he certainly didn't do that. But you know, he looked a little. I was just commenting in one of the chat rooms. He looks a little, you know, pudgy around the midsection. Ali did. I want to give a shout out to my man Walter. He's saying hello from Italy. I gotta say hello to a paisan, you know, from Italy. I've never, you know, I'm 100% Italian, and I've never been to Italy. I came really close one time. We were doing an event in France, and I was about to spend, you know, they had this train that took you over there, and I was going to spend, you know, basically a day and a half in Italy, and I never, the schedule changed, and that was it. I never got there. One of these days I'm going to get out there, but in any event, it was announced. I actually knew about this before they physically announced it. But Sergey Kovalev and Eldir Alvarez will be fighting August 4th at the Hard Rock Hotel and Casino in Atlantic City. Now, the Hard Rock isn't even open yet. It's scheduled to open June 28th. So August 4th is going to be that date. That ought to be an interesting fight. I think we'll get a chance to see where everyone is, where at least Sergey Kovalev is. But we'll see what's going on with that. What else? I was getting, the guy in the chat room saying that I'm changing my opinion on Big Baby. What are you talking about? I think he's a bum. I think Jarrell Baby Miller is a bum. He's over. I don't even think he should be in a discussion. Listen, my final thoughts. Forget about Big Baby Miller. The guy is a fraud, in my opinion. But my final thoughts on Lomachenko. Vasyl Lomachenko is a special fighter. There's no question about that. And whether you're a fan of his or not, if you're a fan of the sport of boxing, you have to recognize the skill set of Vasyl Lomachenko. And you also have to admit, whether you may want to or not, that this is a very special fighter. One that we haven't seen, at least in my lifetime. And I'm telling you, I've seen a lot of great fighters. And I just don't think that I've ever seen a fighter like Lomachenko that does the things he does so flawlessly and is such an exciting fighter. I just can't recall it. I'm sorry. And I'm old enough to have enjoyed some great eras of boxing. And I'm not saying there wasn't great fighters, the last 60 years. I'm not saying that. There were a lot of great fighters. And I'm not saying that there aren't great fighters out there today. I two young fighters that I absolutely love, Gervonta Davis and Terrence Crawford, both extremely talented young men. But Lomachenko's a different breed. Lomachenko is a guy that, if he was a bigger fighter, this guy could be making more money than anyone ever made in this sport. This is a guy that, if you want to see what the definition of the sweet science is, not read it, not listen to some guy that's trying to tell you what it is, but no, see it for yourself. Watch Lomachenko fight. Because Vasyl Lomachenko is the definition of the sweet science. This is a guy that can stand right in front of you, within your target, within your reach, within your danger zone, and you can't hit him. You're trying, and you can't. And when you try to physically move out of the way, he's there hitting you. And not only is he hitting you, he's hitting you a couple of more times than 2 and 3, maybe 2, 3, 4. How about his angles, where the punches come from? Where? Exactly. Where? Where are they coming from? Where did that one come from? How did he get over there? I was just moving to the right, and there he is. He's there before me. I used to say that I thought the best ring general in boxing for the last 25 years was Triple G. Triple G definitely controls that ring, but so does Lomachenko. Lomachenko got caught with a shot in the 6th round. It was a straight-on punch, landed straight on his face. And I think because of the way he moves around, between the force of the punch, the way he came straight in, it just put him on his fanny. And he jumped up. He clearly was not hurt. He was embarrassed. And, he came right after Linares. However, it seemed that he did, display some respect for Jorge Linares after that punch. And he was cautious for the rest of that round and the following round, round 7. But then in round 8, it was back to himself. That's why I was a little, I don't want to use the word upset, but I was a little confused of why the judges had it the way they did. I thought clearly Lomachenko was winning that fight. To suggest that he was down a point or even at that point of stoppage, I don't know. But anyway, our trivia question, I gave a huge hint last week, and I didn't even get anybody to try. So I'm kicking it to the curb. No, I'm not giving you the answer. No, I'm not giving you the answer. but I'm going to read another one for you. And it's a who am I question, all right? And it's not the same one that I asked a couple weeks ago. It's going to sound it when I first read it, but it's not. So if you're the first one to email me the correct answer, Billy@talkinboxing, TalkinBoxing.com, you'll win. You'll win the Title Bout Championship computer game. I still got that. I once stopped a world champion in less than 1 round. And then in my very next fight, I stopped his brother. Who am I? I once stopped a world champion in less than 1 round. And then in my next fight, I stopped his brother. Who am I? If you're the first one to email me the correct answer, Billy@talkinboxing. That's TalkinBoxing.com. You'll win your very own copy of the Title Bout Championship computer game. Now, don't forget, we require you to email it. So if you post it somewhere, it doesn't going to matter. On this day in boxing history, May 14th, in 1952, Lorio Salas wins a 15-round decision over Jimmy Carter to win the world lightweight title. It took place in Los Angeles, California. On this day in 2005, Will Grigsby wins a 12-round decision over Victor Burgos to win the IBF World Junior Flyweight title. It took place in Vegas. On this day in 1883, John L. Sullivan knocks out Charlie Mitchell in the 3rd round of their fight that took place in New York City. On this day in 1946, Gus Livanich knocks out Freddie Mills in the 10th round to retain his world light heavyweight title, and that took place in London. On this day in 1978, Rocky Manatoli knocks out Jose Duran in the 5th round to retain his WBC World Junior Middleweight title, and that took place in Italy. And finally, on this day, May 14th in 1908, Joe Gans knocks out Rudy Unholz in the 11th round to retain his world lightweight title, and that took place in California. Gans would fight 3 more times before his death at age 35, which he passed away on August 10th in 1910. He suffered from tuberculosis. Hey, listen, boys and girls, that concludes our show for today. But make sure you tune in tomorrow morning. Same bat time, same bat channel. Until then, I'll leave you with this. Ciao, baby.